What is good, everybody? It's your boy Sherm and Obed back once again and bringing you another great episode from What's the Word Entertainment. What is good with you, man, Obed? Good to see you as always.
Pleasure. Good to see you too, Sherman.
We're ready to go, man. Let's just get right into it this week. We'll make it short and sweet and hopefully get through everything. I'm going to start off with this week with the MLB. Don't know if you saw it, but the Angels outfielder Mike Trout set a new record. He signed, making it rain. He signed a record 12-year, $430 million deal with the Angels. I mean, this is just getting insane. We thought the Manny Machado one was crazy, and we thought the Bryce Harper one was even bigger. I mean, this is again out here almost a half a $500 million. I mean, what do you even do with all that kind of money, man? It's just like, geez, good Lord. Now, is he worth it? I mean, he's the best player in the game to me, you know?
Yeah, the market's definitely paying this man what his due is. We've had many a conversation about what we would do with that kind of money, how much money these players are worth. Tom Brady to the Patriots, the valuation there, $430 million. My God, you couldn't win that money in the Powerball right now. It's a sizable amount of money that he probably deserves, but does that equate to wins? You're talking about a player who hasn't won a playoff game yet. You know what I mean? It's indicative of just where we're going. The sports have too much money in them. If baseball can give out the kind of contracts they give out, and not just to guys like the top tier, the Machados, the Trouts, those individuals, Verlander we'll talk about as well. But everybody got paid, right? Everybody's starting to get paid, so they're not hurting for money. But is that equating to wins? I don't think so. If he was really trying to do something, when we talked about him making that move to Philly, maybe that could have been something. But
right. The Angels really haven't really done too much. But I mean, he's been doing great. I mean, he's a 7-time All-Star, a 2-time AL MVP, a 6-time Silver Slugger Award winner. I mean, his numbers are off the charts. Like I said, I think it's him and Bryce Harper, and I think Trout is just ahead of him. It's slightly. Yeah. So, I get it. You want to pay him, but, dude, you got to save some money for the rest of your teammates, too, because how are you going to – the goal is to win championships, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that is the goal.
I've said this before, and I'll say it again. In the illustrious words of Herm Edwards, hello, you play to win the game. Oh. So, the Angels giving up all that money, giving up all that cash just for one guy shows, yeah, they're committed to Trout, but are they committed to winning ball games and attracting all their players? Because how much wiggle room do you have to sign other big name free agents now and coming up? Excuse me. So that's the thing. It's like, I don't know what they're really trying to do here with this thing. Now we can say, is this kind of money? Is this just going to keep going, big an ongoing thing? Are players going to get that $500 million, $700 million, even $1 billion one day? I don't know. The fact that there's no salary cap in baseball, we really don't know what's going to happen. Do you think it's good for the game that these players are just getting these astronomical numbers?
So it makes me think of the dynamic of International League Soccer, International League Football, that a player you could back the Brinks truck up for a Neymar, Cristiano Ronaldo. These guys make houses a week, right? So but that is that's a worldwide game. Every country is playing into this pot. So while we look at American sports, which are largely played here on North America, making all of this money, that kind of money internationally is flowing like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some of and these are worldwide competitions. If you were playing, if we were like, oh man, Mike Trout is like the best American baseball player, great. What about the Latvian baseball player, the African baseball player, right? Would he still be the best of the best of the best? Would they all get paid this kind of money? Because this is the one thing where, it's just going to keep going that way. The players are going to keep fighting and saying, hey, we are the product. We deserve more money than we are getting. Then you have to think about players coming into the system, right? Like there are guys in Dominican Republic we never heard of that play way better than guys getting paid out here.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that's a very good point. Yeah, there's plenty of dudes in the DR that are just balling out over there. But it's like, you know what though? It's how much money is really not enough. How much money do you need? Does he really need $430 million?
Nope.
No, he doesn't need $430. Could he have done 400? I would have been sure he would have been just fine with that. Could he have done 300? Dude, it's like you don't need that much money. I get it. You're a professional athlete. You want to make as much as possible. But dude, when you're getting past the $5 or $10 million per year, I think you're good. Like just because you have $100 million doesn't mean you need to go buy a $50 million home. Because that's why this is why these athletes end up broke by the end of their careers, because they're making a $100 million contract. They buy a $50 million home, then they realize that they got to pay taxes on that home. They got to pay insurance on that. They got to pay the upkeep and all that. All that
utilities on that. Do you know how much a water bill is for a 100-room house at Vander Holyfield? Come on, son.
Exactly, dude. Look at Mike Tyson's old crib, dude. It was insane. And 50 bought it. He had to sell it too. It was it was too much for him. It's just like, dude, you just because you're making that kind, you don't need to buy those such extravagant things. You can live off. Don't get me wrong. If you're making, let's say, $15 million a year, why can't you buy a $1 million home? You'll be just fine. Even maybe a $3 million. Oh, okay, done. 15 a year, you're good. You know what I'm saying? And if you have a $100 million contract, you could buy a $3 million home and be just fine with that. You have plenty of room with this garage, like 4-car garage, whatever you want, 6 bedrooms, and you're just fine. There's no reason to spend $40-50 million. I just don't get it. This is why they end up broke. They end up filing bankruptcy. Like I said, I mentioned Mike Tyson. There's plenty of other athletes.
30 for 30 broke. You need to watch it. It's one of the best 30 for 30s ever.
Exactly, dude. I just don't get it. Moving on, you mentioned Justin Verlander before. The Astros pitcher, he signed a new 2-year, $66 million deal. A 36-year-old pitcher. He's getting up there. You know, I mean, he's a former Cy Young Award winner, a former MVP. As a matter of fact, I believe he won the Cy Young and the NL MVP in the same year, which was crazy. Yeah. He helped the Astros win the World Series a couple seasons ago. I don't know how much more time he has left, but you know what? He's doing okay because you know what? He's got Kate Upton, so everything is okay in the Verlander house, and he got a Kate Upton pregnant, so he's good.
He said, "Throttle down. I'm locked in." Old Dominion University product, out of Virginia. I think he's played big for them in big spots. He's played big for his woman in big spots too, I bet. And at this point in his career, I mean, I think now is he going to be that 40-year-old stud out there? I think they're paying him based on what he brings to the table for the time of the year when they need him to do work.
Right.
Right. What's he pitching? Every 5th day, every 4th day, maybe, so.
Yeah. You know, I mean, he did well. He finished, second in the Cy Young Award category last year. So he's doing okay for being 36. You know, I don't think he has too much time left, though. That's the only thing. So
yeah, I mean, I think he's committed to these 2 years, and he probably is good to get the most value out of it. But he'll produce for them.
Right. In other news, speaking of the veteran player, Ichiro Suzuki officially announced his retirement the other day. Give it up. He is undoubtedly a future Hall of Famer, of course. He finished his career with the Mariners, the team he started with, and played for 10 straight seasons. He played with the Yankees for a couple years, and the Marlins for a few years, and he finished it out in Seattle. They wrapped up. They played the first 2 games of the season. Of course, the 2019 season is officially underway. They played the first 2 games of the season against the A's in Japan, in Ichiro's home country. So that's great for him to go out on top. I mean, just looking at his numbers, though, I mean, 30,089 hits. Yeah. 117 home runs. I mean, he batted I think over 300 for his career, 311 for his career. I mean, he's definitely a Hall of Famer. Absolutely. And still to be doing it at the age of 45 years old is phenomenal. Now, not what he once was, of course. Obviously, if you played the year, if you only played 2 games now, but still, even last year, the last few years, doing what he did at that age is a great accomplishment for him. He's a Hall of Famer. I mean, is there anything else? I mean, is there any doubt that he's a Hall of Famer? I mean, I don't think there is.
I don't think there's any doubt that he's a Hall of Famer. I think as far as when I look at baseball players, I look at him as someone who is super productive. I mean, just that guy on the team that doesn't talk a lot, but goes out there and always hits, always gets on base, always a good guy in the clubhouse as well.
I don't think he talked a lot at first because he didn't really speak much English, but that's not the point. But
that's fair. That's fair. There's a little asterisk on that one. But culture divide aside, language barrier aside, the man is just a consummate professional at his game. I just, of the guys I look back and think, and that's 2 guys out of the Seattle Mariners camp that I think earned their stripes over there with Ken Griffey Jr. meeting him in the dugout as well. Those guys he's all of him. He's all of him.
Yeah. And speaking of Ken Griffey Jr., I'm going to say it now, and I will say it till I die. I'm telling you, if he does not get hurt those 4 straight seasons or whatever it was when he was playing with the Cincinnati Reds, Barry Bonds would have been chasing Ken Griffey Jr. for the home run title. I'm telling you, this dude, he had the sweetest swing in baseball history. His swing was so smooth. undoubtedly the best swing in baseball history. I'm telling you. But
I didn't have to be jacked up to crank out a whole bunch of home runs.
Just a pure slugger, and that's the definition of it. Anyway, let's move on to the NBA. This past week, it was official that the Lakers are officially eliminated from playoff contention for the 6th straight year. The experiment, or whatever you want to call it, it did not work. Magic Johnson got it wrong. Now, we'll see. It will work out next season, the year after that, whatever. We got LeBron on a 4-year deal. So we'll see what's going to happen with him. But the other big news was the past week, I don't know if you saw it, was they were playing against the Knicks in the Garden. And LeBron at one point during a time was sitting on the end of the bench away from all of his teammates.
Yeah.
Frazier made a big deal out of this. And, whether, it's not team chemistry, what have you.
Yeah.
Is this really a big deal, or is it just, this nonsense that the media is just hyping up?
I think it depends on what angle you look at it from. Has LeBron always been a team guy? As long as the team listens to everything he says, yes. Is this indicative of something that you wouldn't see from the other greats? Kobe would have never done this. Jordan would have never done this. It is not a very a team. It's not a team unity look. Honestly, for me, I feel like you don't. Those are guys who, one, you were willing to ship off, right? If you could have got who you wanted. So, I'm sure it was very awkward, all those leaks coming out and finding out, oh, my name's on the trade block now. It just is, does LeBron actually think he can win with us? Like, why would I want to be out here on the court with him shouting at me? Because LeBron came in for what looked like a under the cover overhaul that other people were not aware of. I don't think it's a problem, but I don't think it's good.
I think it's something, if you're having problems, whatever, keep it in the locker room. I don't think you should put it out in the public because it just looks bad. It's just a bad look, dude. You know what I mean? To be honest, I don't think it's, oh my God, they're gonna, trade away half the team. Like they're gonna, LeBron's being rude or whatever the case may be. Is not being a team player, get rid of him. Obviously, he's not gonna go anything drastically like that. But it just shows that, like, hey, it seems that way. I'm not saying this is just my opinion. It can seem that way. He's disconnected from the team, which can eventually hurt them. I get it, the whole trade rumors and everything like that, with the whole AD thing that happened earlier in the year.
Yeah.
So that kind of probably set some players off. So, but I think coming back, obviously they're out of the playoffs, but next season they definitely need to get a big name free agent. Like I said, I think they should go after Kemba Walker, who's a free agent, possibly even go after Klay Thompson as well too. Yeah. And if they could trade for AD, do it, absolutely. And then you get pieces, like I said, if you get AD, you get Kemba, I think they're right there with the Warriors. And then if you add Klay Thompson, they're definitely going to beat the Warriors next, So
that's a big transaction there because I feel like Klay Thompson is just shooting ridiculously night in and night out. This kid, off of 4 bounces, he's got 4 dribbles, he's gonna give you 40 points. That's ridiculous. And if you could have that swing guy there on your team, I mean, oh my God, what could you do with the right pieces around you? I agree. I mean, you don't want it to spill out into the locker room, but the braggadocio at this point of LeBron James is he's the only player that could, at this point in his career, sit on the end of the bench while the rest of the team is figuring it out. Oh, and by the way, already there's rumor mill going around. Andrew Wojnarowski, need to get his name right.
Wojnarowski, yeah.
He sent out a tweet talking about that the Lakers are looking at Jason Kidd as a replacement for Luke Walton.
Really?
And I'm just like, wait a minute. How is any of this Walton's fault that this team is not good? How is any of this Walton's fault that
they're just not ready? They're young, they're inexperienced. I don't think it's Luke Walton's fault. It's just the team is not that good. Everyone thought, oh, LeBron's on a team, we're gonna go to the finals or we're gonna go to the Western Finals, whatever the case is. He can't completely do it, and it's not the same thing when you're in the Western Conference. If you're in the East, different story. He has a chance. Yeah. When you're in the West, it's a totally different ballgame with the Warriors, with the Rockets, with the Nuggets this year. You know what I mean?
The Rockets got a guy that'll come and drop 60 on you. What are you guys going to do about that? You're not jacking up threes.
That's what I'm saying, yo. They don't have that squad. Like, people think just because LeBron is there, it's not the same thing, dude. And people need to understand that. I get it. He's the best player on the planet, but
it's the non-Mamba mentality. It's something I'm starting to put on LeBron fans because Kobe would go out and do that. It would will a team on his back. Jordan would will a team on his back. LeBron has needed to go to places and create a amalgamation of a team around him that does what he can do alongside it and be successful. So he doesn't just drop into your town and then it's a champion.
Yeah. I just, like I said, they need to make some moves, move some pieces around, sign some big name free agents, and they'll be all right.
Yeah.
Moving on, I want to talk about the Rockets and your boy James Harden, as we just mentioned. He dropped 61 on Friday night against the Spurs. Now he joins Wilt Chamberlain, Michael Jordan, and Kobe Bryant as the only players who have multiple 60-point games in the same season. And he dropped 61 against the Knicks earlier in the year, I believe in January. I mean, he's on fire. That was his 8th 50-point plus game, and he's dropped at least 30 points on every single team this year.
Yeah.
Let me say it again. At least 30 on every single team. It's ridiculous. He's an offensive guru, powerhouse, whatever you want to call it. He's offensively, offensively probably the best player in the game. Offensively, I'm gonna say it again. We know it all.
Coming back on that defense, he might not cover anybody, but
yeah, he likes to do the little Olay and let dudes go right.
He does wear red. You got to hit it with the.
Yeah, he's wearing that red Rockets jersey, so holding up it like from the Matador the bull to go right. But dude, I just don't get it. But let me ask you this question: is he the MVP of the league again this year?
I'm going to agree with you. Offensively, fantastic, amazing. But I have to take away that, first portion of the year where this man is obviously taking 4 steps. Now, as of late, I've watched some very textbook fundamental step back threes from this guy, teardrops from way outside the arc that I've loved that I wish I would have saw earlier. I don't know what made him change his play all of a sudden, but discounting those items and still saying that this guy plays the way he does, it's hard not to say that he isn't the MVP. I mean, I admittedly need to go and compare his stats and the last longevity of the last 30 games, I would say, against what Russell Westbrook has done out there with OKC. But it's really been the Paul George show of late down in OKC that
Westbrook's averaging another triple-double again for the 3rd straight season, and no one's even talking about this dude, yo. It's crazy. 3 straight seasons with averaging a triple-double, that's insane.
What does the MVP award stand for? Is it the person who makes the team win all the time, or is it the person who, if he wasn't there, the team would suck?
So that's exactly, it's funny. I'm so glad you said that, because MVP most valuable player. Yeah. It's not MOP, not most outstanding player. Yeah. Okay. And a lot of people think just because you're the best player, you should win MVP. That's not the case. Yeah. And here's my other argument too about this. I'm not going to just say, just because he's dropping 30, 40, 50 points, 60 points a game doesn't mean he should win MVP.
No.
He should win Offensive Player of the Year, but the NBA doesn't have one. They have a defensive player. In the NFL, you have Offensive Player of the Year, you have Defensive Player of the Year, and you have MVP. You have it in baseball. You have Cy Young Award winners. You have a Silver Slugger. I'm sure they have the same thing in hockey as well too. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, why don't they have an Offensive Player of the Year award in the NBA? Why? Because they automatically assume the best offensive player should get the MVP, and that's not what it should be. Yeah. If you want to give it to the best player, have it the most outstanding player. But the most valuable player, to me, now can it be James Harden? Yes. But I have to give an argument for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Listen, James Harden, he's averaging 36, 6 and 7. And Giannis, 27, 12 and 6. He's leading his team to the best record in the NBA. Okay, better than the Warriors right now. And as a matter of fact, I believe the Rockets play in Milwaukee tomorrow night, so that's going to be a game to watch on Tuesday night.
And were the Bucks the first team to 50 wins, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, they have the best record. They're 56. They're 55 and 19 right now as of Monday today. So they have the best record in the NBA. Giannis has elevated that team into an elite contender in the Eastern Conference. Okay, he wouldn't be nothing. Now, granted, the Rockets without Harden wouldn't be the same, but they have they have Chris Paul, they have Eric Gordon. The Rockets have some pieces.
Absolutely.
Other than Giannis and maybe Chris Middleton, you want to throw in there. You don't really have anybody on that squad.
Yeah.
So, like I said, Is Harden the offensive MVP? Yes. Defensive MVP? No. You know what I mean? So I don't like just because he's dropping 60, he's dropping 40. People are saying that. If you want to give him the award, I'm not going to argue it, but I'm just saying just because he's dropping a lot of points and he's going off on the offense doesn't mean he's automatically categorize him as the MVP. Yeah. I don't know if like I said, I think you're saying he's going to get it. I think Giannis has a legitimate chance to get the MVP award, and I would not be upset if they gave it to Giannis.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree.
So, that's just me, dude. Have an offense. I think the NBA should come out with an Offensive Player of the Year award, along with that Defensive Player of the Year award, you know what I mean? And then have the MVP, because it's the most value. Who brings the most value to their team? Who can help their team win? Who can help their team into the playoffs? And, of course, it's still a great player on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
And you know what? People aren't even talking about Kawhi Leonard.
Which is interesting to me. It's intriguing to think that they're talking about him, and he's putting together a very solid season after sitting out all those games. It makes you wonder, like, the guy was honest about his body. I want to come back at 100%. He's not slouching in this time with the Raptors, even though I don't see him staying there any longer than he has to.
Yeah, I don't think he's staying there any longer either. But he's having a good year. He's averaging 27, 7, and 3. That's a great year. And, it's not bad at all. He's got the Raptors in second in the Eastern Conference. Yeah. They're only 4 games behind the Bucks. They're at 51 wins right now. So it's like, and he's arguably the best two-way player in the game. If he's not, he's right there with LeBron. You know what I mean? So I can't believe no one's even talking about, like I said, Westbrook before averaging another triple-double. No one's talking about Kawhi. Just because Harden is putting up 61 points and 50 here and 30 here and this, that, there, they automatically want to assume he's the MVP. That's what bothers me, excuse me. Like I said, I think they should look at it as a whole and look at who brings the most value, because that's what it is, the most valuable player to that team.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, I've gotten to a point in my young age of watching the NBA because, wasn't born in this country, but didn't watch it as much growing up. I remember the NBA and NBC, loved Jordan, all that stuff. The Bulls, amazing. Do you feel that the NBA has more, less, or equal amounts of talent that they had for those 90s, 2000s teams? Reason I say that is in, thinking, okay, James Harden is doing what he's done now. Is he playing in soccer competition? And then looking at the East as a whole, do you feel like the individuals that finally rose to the top are some of the better teams when you take LeBron out of the East?
So it's funny. I was actually having this conversation today with someone that, how much has the NBA has changed in the last few years. The East is not the powerhouse teams what it used to be with the Bulls and the Knicks, even the Heat in the 90s and the Celtics. The Pistons and Bad Boy Pistons and the Celtics, it's all about the Western Conference. The East was like a foregone conclusion. When LeBron was in the East, he was going to win it every single year. Now the West is a completely different ball game, and that's why LeBron is not winning, because he's in the West. You know what I mean? If he was in the East, they'd probably be okay if he's still with the Cavs. Yeah. But to really focus on the question as far as the talent and the difficulty, it's a different game. Like we saw it before. These guys aren't even allowed to whisper in each other's ear without getting a foul call, dude. There was one point, I think in the year, I forget if it was LeBron or somebody, they actually put their hands behind their back and started to play defense. You can't even touch the guy anymore on their back anymore.
No hand check.
No hand checking. It's a completely different, dude. Like we said with the Pit in their 80s and early 90s. You remember the Bad Boys Pistons, dude? When you went up for a rebound or a layup or something,
you get a suplex. Yes.
That's what I'm saying. You will get back body dropped right on the floor with no problems.
Yes.
And the ref will look at you like, what? You good? All right, get your ass up. You ain't no foul.
It ain't playoffs, right?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different ball game. Defense is more lax. It's all about offense now. You know what I mean? This is where, quite frankly, Mike D'Antoni should thrive, because his teams in the early 90s, early 2000s, all he did was coach offense. He didn't coach defense with the Phoenix Suns. They were putting up 150 a game, but it doesn't help you when you giving up 151.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's a different game now. What could some of these players play, or thrive in the earlier 90s, against the Eastern Conference, with those teams? I think somebody like LeBron, could, just because of his body and size, he could take the punishment. But some of these guys, they want to act tough, but some of these dudes are soft out here, dude. I'm telling you, they would not be able to contend.
Swaggy Peas and the what's his name? D'Angelo Russell's out here.
Even Steph Curry, dude, he's scrawny, he's little, dude. I don't think he'd be. Now, granted, he could pull up from half court, shoot all day, but he's trying to drive and dude, he'd get bodied. You know what I mean? I remember with the Heat and Knicks in the 90s, he would be fighting with Charlie Ward and
my goodness,
Allen Houston fighting with Alonzo Mourning and those dudes.
Malone.
Yeah, dude.
Shaquille O'Neal took a swing at the dude from the Bulls. That if he'd have connected, he would have knocked that man into next Tuesday.
Dude, I remember actual fights happening. You know what I mean? It was a different game in the 90s. You know what I mean? This is another reason why 90s was the best decade of all time. Basketball. You know what I mean? Not just basketball, but TV and movies. And that's a topic for another day. I'm just saying, dude, it's a different game. Granted, the athletes are bigger and stronger now, you know, because of all the technology and the supplements and things like that they're taking. But I just think offensively, would they be putting on a show like they are today? I don't think so. For the majority of them, I don't believe so. There's very few that could do it. I don't know. I just don't think it's the same. It's the same game.
I think Draymond would be all right out there. You know, I think Boogie would be all right out there.
Boogie would be all right. Yeah,
there's some guys.
You mentioned.
George, absolutely. Russell Westbrook was born for it. I tell you, he was born for it. Yeah.
He would thrive in a you know, kind of an attitude era. You know what I mean? Kind of persona. You know, that is, as I say, attitude era makes me think of the old WWE. You know, the attitude era when they changed.
Right. Yeah, right. My God, that man has a family. It broke him in half.
It broke him in half. Exactly. So yeah, I don't think it's the same thing. Really quick, I don't know if you saw the game last night between the Hornets and the Raptors.
I saw the buzzer beater, but I did not see the game.
This dude Jeremy Lamb, I hit the table, had a buzzer beater from the half court. That was insane.
Yeah, like it dropped out of the Raptors. It was pretty
great.
He
threw that thing like 200 feet in the air from half court, and he banked it in.
I hope he called glass. That's all I got to ask for.
You know what? It don't matter. As long as it goes in, you get the win. That's it. That was exactly. That's all that matters. Anyway, well, I just wanted to just see if you saw that last night. That was insane. I'll try to throw that up on the screen for the folks at home. They can see that. But I really want to talk about last thing on the NBA. We're down to the last few games. I think now we're down to about 6-7 games, whatever the case is. Looking at the standings right now, man. The East, like we said, we got the Bucks, the Raptors, Sixers, and Pacers have all clinched. The Celtics have lost 4 in a row. I mean, getting blown out the other day by the Spurs. I mean, then it's funny. The Nets aren't too far behind the Celtics for 5th spot. I don't know what's up with the Celtics, man. It's looking like it's the Heat look like they're going to clinch that AFC, but the Magic only a game out. Celtics are kind of worrying me, dude. But I think I don't know. Coming out of the East, I'm probably just going to go. Even though they're second, I'm going to go the Raptors coming out of the East.
Okay. I mean, I could see it. I could see Kawhi making a statement there. They played. The best thing about that team is they played well under the radar and have done their thing, right? Like they're not splashy. They're everywhere, but they're in all those games. If you got to lose to a half-court buzzer beater that throws 200 yards, 200 feet in the air, you probably had a pretty decent game up until that point.
Right.
Like you said, the most valuable to a team player, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't know if they'll, through the course of an entire playoff run, be able to stick it to a team. I wanted to go with the Celtics, but they are just giving themselves the most work that they're gonna have to do. Like I just don't. I didn't like the body language from Kyrie Irving in a post game, post practice interview. He just didn't look like he was really in it. Didn't look like his heart was in it. Yeah,
dude, something's up with Kyrie, man. Now, just wait. If this season ended today, they'd be playing the Pacers. Do I think they can beat the Pacers? Yes. Yeah. But the way they've been playing, dude, I don't know what's up with them, dude. I mean, it's funny because last year they didn't have Hayward or Kyrie towards the end, and they finished they were better.
Yeah.
That shows you it's team chemistry.
Yeah, adjusting to those things. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I don't think it's Brad Stevens, their head coach, at all. No. I think he's a heck of a coach. I think he's great. I think it really has to do with team chemistry, to be honest, dude. And it's odd that they're not going to get it together. Because when LeBron announced he was going to the Western Finals, and I think I said this before, there was a tweet sent out by Chris Rock. He said, "Congratulations to the Boston Celtics, next year's Eastern Conference champions." Immediately, you know what I mean? Yeah. So Boston should be running away with the Eastern Conference. They're so deep, with Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Yeah. I just don't get it, and we mentioned Kyrie and Al Horford. They're just so deep. Yeah. I don't get it, man. In the West, of course, you still got the Warriors and the Nuggets and the Rockets up top. It's looking like the West is pretty much set. I think the last spot is going to come down between the Spurs and the Kings. Okay. But I think the Spurs they're at about 6.5 games up on the Kings right now, and then that's pretty much locked up. So you can pretty much say the Western Conference is pretty much locked up with the teams that will be. Now the seedings may change over the last couple of games, but I think from the West, I think it's safe to say that I'm going to pick the Warriors, of course. But could the Rockets give them a run for it? Yeah, I think so. I mean, what do you think? Who do you think will actually end up coming out of the West?
Whatever the Warriors are planning to do, if they're going to turn it on and it's going to be now or never, I have to have faith in them. Now, playing those many games, those many seasons in a row wanes on a team, right? Like maybe these guys want to be the Warriors that we know, but maybe they're just tired. Maybe they said they wanted to close out their stadium with a bang. I'm sure they want to win a championship for Oakland before they move up out of there.
I think they're going to San Francisco, right?
I have no idea where the news site's being. I could see them moving. I think they're moving close, farther north and moving to San Francisco.
Yeah. And then they got their 5th straight win. Their 50th straight season. They got 50 wins for the 6th straight season for them. I mean, it's the Warriors. I mean, they're just going to be a powerhouse until until that team gets dismantled. Yeah, he's going to be on top.
I just see the same old, recycle of what we've seen the last few years, the dominance for them. And Kevin Durant comes to play for the playoffs. So, if it comes down to Klay's not hitting shots or Curry's not hitting shots, they don't have it down low. They will make this the Kevin Durant show, and you guys will see the definition of the Durantula.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, let's move on to the NFL now. Some big news came out of the NFL yesterday. Your boy, Rob Gronkowski, man, calling it quits, hanging it up. Pouring one out for the homie.
I have to.
Pouring one out for the homie. After 9 years in the NFL and 3 Super Bowl championships, he has decided to call it quits. And I think you and I discussed this some weeks back, and I think before the Super Bowl I said it. If they win, it's 100% guarantee that he will retire. And if they lost, I said it was about 75-80% chance.
Maybe he'll come back and try to right the ship. Yeah, but he's out.
I think I called it. I think we both called. I might have called it as well too. It was inevitable, dude. It's just too many injuries, especially with the back.
Yeah, 4 back surgeries, a forearm, shoulder, ACL, MCL. I mean, at that size, you can't take that beating for so long.
Yeah, dude. It's just having a good quality of life, preserving your health. Yeah. I mean, it's funny. Just before we came on here and started recording, I was on a group chat with some of my friends. It's hard talking about Gronk. Oh, he's the GOAT. To me, it's still Tony Gonzalez. Tony Gonzalez is the greatest tight end of all time. Obviously he's going to have better numbers because he played longer than Gronk. So I won't even put numbers into it. But just a pure – he was a better route runner, and I think he had better hands. Now, Gronk was maybe bigger and stronger because he was a bigger But to me, it's Tony G all the way.
So I'm going to disagree, obviously, because I'm biased. But for Gronkowski's, the work that he did, and a lot of his work came out when he was in the slot or at a wide receiver position, 59% of his receptions. His ability to still translate to a football player on the line. And I think that's one thing from Tony, that Tony wasn't there to be this physical part of the run offense for you, right? Like, he was out there to catch balls, make you hurt if you didn't cover him with your best cover corner or your best cover linebacker or your best cover small corner, small safety. Yeah. Gronkowski would make huge plays, and even down the stretch now, he's really only had a few teardrop shots that he caught. One which that set them up for the touchdown in the Super Bowl, the long ball to him. There was an underthrow ball by Tom Brady against the Chiefs that kind of solidified this part of his career, but was giving you so much in the run game, blowing guys up like Aaron Donald up, like that's I never saw plays like that consistently from Tony Gonzalez, but I feel like that's why I give Gronkowski the edge. You're not just going to say, okay, well, we can't run off of tackle in his direction because he's going to set the edge. No, that guy in Gronkowski is going to get to the second level with this guy and probably grab a linebacker on the way up there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's probably one of the best blocking tight ends of all time. You know what I mean? You can always count on him to throw that block and get your guy out the way. Don't get me wrong. But I just think body of work, I mean, like I said, Tony G, just the hands and the route running, to me, that separates it too. And, because, you have to be able to catch the ball as well, too, as block. But I think, don't get me wrong, like I said, blocking goes to Gronk, but hands and routes and, just tight end is just receiver capabilities. I think you have to give it to Tony G. And that's why I'm going to say Tony Gonzalez, best tight end of all time. I know you're going to disagree, but I just got to say I wasn't going to bring numbers into it, but you know what I mean? I want to look at it just really quick here. Dude, I mean, just looking at the numbers really quick here. So Tony G, he played he played for the Chiefs for so long, played for the Falcons for a few years, but he racked up over 1,300 catches and over 15,000 yards in 17 seasons. Okay, he has 4,000-yard seasons and 11 straight seasons of at least 70 catches. Okay, now Gronk obviously didn't play that long, only played 9 years. I get it, but he was bigger. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So he's not going to have the numbers in, but dude. Gronk is top 3, if not top 2. I'm gonna put Antonio Gates up in there. Maybe Kellen Winslow, Shannon Sharp.
For me, that's tough because you like the more like high flying guys, and Gronk had a piece of that to his game, but I don't think those guys would have been able to have the numbers if they weren't in an offense that focused on them being a part of the passing game, right? Like Gronk was to me, I always felt like Gronk was a pass first tight end. Always. I always felt like he was there as an extension of the pass game for Tom Brady. But he gave you so much in the run game that I don't think guys were asked to do that, right? Like if Antonio Gates wasn't being asked to block, and at one point in his career, whether, the back half, like 4 or 5 years before he finally retired, he was just out there to catch touchdowns. Like he was not a part of the offense in the fashion that Gronkowski has been. Like if you double Gronkowski's stats, that gives you 15,000 yards. That gives you, how many touchdowns did that give you? It gives you over 160 touchdowns. I mean, I don't know where that would rank by comparison to Tony Gonzalez. I'm not looking at his numbers though. But if you could say if Gronkowski played another 10 years, another 9 years, and Lord willing, we have no idea what quarterback he was going to be playing with, right? I imagine, if I compare those guys, he's had Tom Brady. Probably the only reason why he's in the discussion is because his quarterback was Tom Brady. This brought up a thing for me, a thought for me, that people talk about who has Tom Brady played with, right? Because we get on Peyton Manning. I know I get on Peyton Manning for playing with so many Hall of Famers, whether they first ballot or not. Rob Gronkowski, is he a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Oh, yeah, I think he's got to be.
So then, all right.
I would not be.
And that's the thing. I feel like this is a first ballot Hall of Famers work case. And you look at spots, games, places, the stats.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Really quick to going back to Gronk and their stats. So we said Gronk had 9. We said 9 seasons. Yeah. He had 7,800 yards and 79 touchdowns, which is great. If you double, you know what I mean? So Tony Gonzalez played 17 seasons. So the numbers might be better, but look at, like you said, look who he was playing with. He was playing with Tom Brady. Yeah. He was getting the ball in the red zone almost every time, short yardage touchdown. So he could easily get 3-4 touchdowns a game. Tony Gonzalez was a deeper route runner type of tight end. Gronk, they weren't asking Gronk to run 8 to 9 cut routes all the time. You know what I mean? Tony Gonzalez would go deep on you, dude. You know what I mean? And so they were two different kind of players. Like I said, dude, it's so difficult. I know it is. It's Gronk. He's a Hall of Famer. Yeah. Absolutely Hall of Famer. I'll not take that away from him. But to me, it's still gonna be Tony G for me. So I know you're biased, but
hey, nothing wrong, man. Nothing wrong with it. Each their own. I'll tell you what, nobody will ever play football like Gronk did. I'm sad he's gone. I might have to switch up the T-shirt I wear all year to the 87.
I got you. Speaking of the Patriots, your other boy,
My man's the man. Champions.
Bobby Kraft. Good old Bobby. Mr. Kraft. Hey. Making hey. Our man Bobby Kraft doing what he does. We all know, with the whole thing with the massage parlor. He did enter a plea deal to have the charges dropped, I believe. He was entering a plea deal to have the charges dropped for soliciting of prostitution. Just the other day, he released a statement issuing an apology. I'll read it just briefly here, just shortly. And quote, "I am truly sorry. I know I have hurt and disappointed my family, my close friends, my coworkers, our fans, and many others who rightfully hold me to a higher standard. Throughout my life, I have always tried to do the right thing. The last thing I would ever want to do is disrespect another human being. I have extraordinary respect for women. My morals and my soul were shaped by the most wonderful woman, the love of my life, who I was blessed to have as my partner for 50 years." End quote. And the quote, it does go on. But, dude, he mad he got caught. That's all it is.
Who isn't mad? Nobody should get caught doing things in their personal life. I don't think that he was supporting human trafficking, but one has to understand, stepping into a place like that, you fall victim to this, because this is a dangerous game out here that people are playing. And
man, he got caught, dude. End the story, dude. Just accept it. You got bagged. It is what it is. You're trying to get a little real quick. You know what I mean? He got caught up. It is what it is, yo. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, when we first talked about this, dude, where is his handler? Why don't they have a hold to him?
Where is Michael Cohen? Where is Long Island's finest Michael Cohen? Where are we at?
Dude, somebody bring some girls to his room in the hotel in Vegas. Dude, I don't get why you need to go to a strip mall in Florida to get it in real quick.
I'm pretty sure we were talking about this with DB, and DB made the comment that he wanted to live the gangster lifestyle. This is something that he's not accustomed to. He wanted to feel the thrill of it, and he got popped.
Yeah, dude. I just don't get it, man. Anyway, moving on. Really quickly, want to mention that the Rams, they signed former Packer linebacker Clay Thompson to a 2-year deal.
Clay Matthews.
Clay Matthews to a 2-year deal. $9.25 million base with $5.5 guaranteed. I think it's good, dude. Clay Matthews is a beast. He can get you, 80, 90 tackles a season. Yeah. I think that just bolsters that Ram defense that we all saw was one of the best in the league. Yeah. So I think that's definitely a good signing. Do you like it? Do you like the move?
I think it's a good move for both of them. I'm sure we're going to see way more Clay Matthews commercials, him eating Campbell soup and all that good stuff now that he's out in LA. I think the Rams could definitely use him. I don't know this. I don't think they're re-signing Ndamukong Suh, so their front line might look a little different there. But, still Aaron Donald. If you got Aaron Donald clogging up the hole, getting after the quarterback, and then Clay Matthews coming around the corner, you're going to be doing okay.
Yeah. I think they'll definitely be all right. So yeah, but I like the signing anyway. Also, the Cowboys signed wide receiver Randall Cobb from the Packers, and they re-signed Tavon Austin. Cobb got a 1-year deal, roughly about $5 million. I'm not sure what the guaranteed is there. Yeah. Tavon Austin's on a 1-year, $1 million deal with $500,000 guaranteed. Seems like the Packers are losing all their guys. Aaron Rodgers is not going to have anybody there. But dude, I like the move for the Cowboys, to get in Cobb. It fills that void of Cole Beasley leaving for the Bills.
Yeah. But for me, it's just you miss out on a guy, you lose a guy in Beasley who at least was healthy, and you pick up a guy in Randall Cobb who's always hurt, right? Like the fantasy football the world has been a buzz because Cobb made this move, and I'm just like, this is a guy who nobody depends on, and he's always injured. So I don't know why people are psyched right now.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's a good blanket for security blanket for Dak Prescott though.
Absolutely. So, if all the work is going to go to Amari, it's good to have a guy with sure hands like Cobb.
Yeah, so that's why I like it. Moving on, the Raiders, they signed former Cincinnati Bengals linebacker Vontaze Burfict to a 1-year, $5 million deal with incentives. Not sure that the guaranteed money is there, but this is going to be interesting. He's teamed up with Antonio Brown, who he played at least twice a year when they were with the Steelers and Bengals. Respectively, dude, we know they've had their beef in the past.
Yeah.
in the past. Excuse me. Will they get along? I don't know, dude. It's kind of rough now. Perfect, dude. Is he really worth it, dude? He's such a headache. I feel, bro. Like he's been suspended multiple times throughout his career. He hasn't played a full season since 2013. He's just been suspended at least a couple games every single year the past few years. Is it worth it? And being that he's with an AB, will that work?
Is he worth it? No. This man's known more in the media for being the bad guy than being the consummate professional on the field. Mm-hmm. Two, I don't know about, maybe you extend the olive branch, but this is a guy who's tried to give you multiple concussions on multiple occasions. Yeah. He's probably not, he's on my team, but he's not one of my favorite guys to hang out with.
Right, dude. And like you said, he's not, I don't think he's worth it at all, dude. He's just a headache, like I said. He's been known in the media as being one of probably the dirtiest player in the game. He's going out there intentionally trying to hurt people, ruin their careers. There's no need for that in the NFL or in any sport for that matter. I don't like the move by the Raiders. Now the Raiders are always known for getting the bad boy kind of players, so be it. It is what it is. But if he straightens up and he plays out and he balls out, it is what it is. So anyway. Let's get right into the divisional roundtable for this week. We're going to talk about the NFC East. Start with the Cowboys that we just talked about a little while ago. They finished 10-6 last year as the conference champs. Lost in the second round of the playoffs to the Rams. Mm-hmm. Two biggest things for them going into this year: signing Dak Prescott to a long-term deal, and also signing defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence. So I think Prescott's in his last year of his rookie deal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
What's he going to be worth? Is he going to be getting that, $20 million a year contract type of thing? Is he going to extend it on a long-term deal? I'm not sure. What is Prescott really, truly, honestly worth compared to the other quarterbacks out there? I don't think he's going to get $100 million.
No, absolutely. And this is the thing. It might get reported as $100 million, but we know it's only going to be like $40 million, $50 million guaranteed. He might get a Nick Foles contract.
Yeah. But I think, Prescott, he's a good quarterback. I think him and Ezekiel Elliott, I think Ezekiel Elliott has an extra year on his deal. So I think they got him together, but I think they'll focus really on the run game. Now, the other thing is that they have no first round draft pick in this year's and then 2019 draft because they gave it up for Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
So, but I think they need to go on the defensive line, work on there, and maybe tight end. We said with the tight end Jason Witten, he's coming back, but he's how productive is he really going to be? Yeah. And I think they need to work on their secondary. I don't know what other needs they're really going to focus on. I don't know about you. What do you think the Cowboys' outlook is for the 2019 season?
Well, looking at the division, it's theirs for the grabbing, theirs for the taking. Obviously, you have to think about the Eagles being able to challenge there and them being a year removed from this whole Super Bowl hangover and whatnot, get away from that bad drop by Alshon Jeffrey. You still have to think they're in contention. But I think the most complete team that has a chance to take it in style would probably be the Cowboys. I do see them trying to make it work one more time with Dak before making a decision. I don't know why Jason Garrett is still there. I believe that with the Giants deciding to stick with Eli and the Redskins not having a healthy, manageable quarterback, they have Case Keenum. I don't know if that means they actually have a quarterback. I actually like the Cowboys to win this division again. But we'll see what the Eagles have to say about that.
Yeah. Speaking of the Eagles, they went 9-7 last year. Well, they were the wild card. They lost to the Saints in the second round of the playoffs. As we know, as you mentioned before, Nick Foles is gone. He moved on to Jacksonville. Obviously they're committed to Carson Wentz. They also signed D tackle Malik Jackson from the Jaguars on a 3-year deal worth up to $30 million. Yeah. The Eagles, I don't know, man. I think they've got definitely got some holes in that squad. I think they need to look at their a couple different things in the draft. I think they're going to look at cornerback. They need to look at their running back position. I think you're right as far as the Cowboys winning the division again next year. But I think Josh Adams looked good in the running back spot. But I don't think he's Josh Adams. Yeah. I think he looked good. You said Alshon Jeffrey's still there.
Aguilar's still there. the two tight ends, Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, I think is a really good tight end. They could run a two tight end attack. For me, they're only going to go as far. They're only going to go as far as Carson Wentz is going to take them. And if we see consistency from the last 2 years from him, he won't be there at the end of the season. So is Nate Sudfeld about to do his best Nick Foles impersonation? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles, I think they definitely need some sort of piece, added on there. So I don't know, man. I think the Eagles are kind of like, can Carson Wentz, one, can he stay healthy? And two, can he really lead them to the promised land? Because remember, before he tore his ACL 2 seasons ago and they won the Super Bowl, he was a perennial MVP of that season.
Yep. He was cooking.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think they see something in him. I think he has the stuff to lead that team to the promised land. He's just got to stay healthy. If he's not healthy, dude, they're done for sure.
Yeah, they don't have that veteran backup there. That was a luxury to have, I guess, given what Nick Foles was able to give to them. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate that they lost him, though. Moving on, you mentioned the Giants quickly. Of course, we all know the biggest thing about the Giants, they traded away OBJ. What the hell are they thinking? They're Giants. They're. Here's the thing.
Pack it in.
They drafted Saquon Barkley last year, which to me said they wanted to win now. They weren't planning for the future. When you draft a running back that high, you're trying, and at somebody like his caliber, you were committed to Eli, you're committed to that team. You just needed another piece or two to win now. Mm-hmm. Trading OBJ shows it. They're not trying to win now. They're definitely in rebuild mode. I think this year will be Eli's last year with the Giants and in the NFL. I really do believe it. They've got to go quarterback. People are saying they're probably going to look at Dwayne Haskins out of Ohio State.
Yeah. The whole front office was there at his pro days, so. Okay.
Either Kyler Murray will probably end up going number 1 to the Arizona Cardinals. So I don't see him being there. I think the Giants have the 6th pick in the draft, I believe, or something like that. Yeah. So I think they got to go quarterback, and they might have to move up to get Dwayne Haskins, to be honest.
Do you move up to get Dwayne Haskins, or you try to work something out with the Cardinals and pick up Josh Rosen?
Very good point. What can they trade? Can they trade for Josh Rosen? Because if the Cardinals draft Kyler Murray at number 1, obviously Josh Rosen's out. So I mean, will you get another player in the draft and maybe get Josh Rosen? I don't know. Will he fit that offense with Pat Shurmur? I don't know. But the Giants draft needs, of course, they said a quarterback. Now they need a receiver, shore up that offensive line, and then get that secondary under control. So
they spent $200 million on that defense the last few years, and it just never panned out.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like the Giants,
you let Landon Collins walk. I mean, and to a division rival as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about a few weeks ago. I mean, they did get one receiver. They got Golden Tate from the Eagles. He signed with the Giants. So,
but I mean, what does he bring you?
He's not OBJ. We all know that. If let's be honest here, you know what I mean. But I still think you need another receiver. I mean, Sterling Shepard he's a good receiver. I like him.
Into his own. I like Sterling Shepard. He's the new number 1 out there. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, but of course you got Saquon, as I mentioned, who's a beast. He will be the best running back in the NFL the next couple seasons. He will be the best running back in the NFL.
I hope that this shows what bad drafts do to you. You should have took Sam Darnold.
Dude, the last year's draft was full of quarterbacks. Full of them.
I know you want to go get a guy like Saquon, but you just should have went ahead and got a quarterback because
that was the year to do it.
Yeah.
And if let's say they got Sam Darnold, he would have been sitting behind Eli, learning from a 2-time Super Bowl winning future Hall of Fame quarterback for at least 2 seasons. Yeah. Why not? Let him
Eli Manning, even though he breathes through his mouth, and I don't actually think he's all that smart, that's fine. He would have sat behind him and would have learned something, maybe how to pick his nose. I don't know. I will fire roast Eli Manning. He is on site. Damn.
Yeah, mad about it. Damn. Jeez. God damn. What that man ever do to you? Good Lord have mercy.
That's all right. He's probably the reason the Patriots has had the second round of a dynasty because of those 2 Super Bowl losses make you want to go get back again.
I got it. Like I said, you just mad about it. And of course, and showing up last team to talk about in the NFC is the Redskins. We talked about getting Case Keenum. I don't think he's the answer. They're going to continue to be a mediocre team. They will always flutter around that between 6-10 and 9-17.
Yep.
Maybe make the playoffs one year, but then losing the first round. You know what I mean?
Pretty sure they won the division at 9-7 with RG3 one year. And maybe if his knee had stayed together, they could have done something. But this is not a team that makes moves to be a winner. They make moves to be consistent.
Exactly. So I just don't really see the Redskins really doing much of anything. As we said before, I think Alex Smith is done. I don't think he's ever coming back. It's unfortunate. It was just a horrific injury. I feel bad for him. But, where do they really go? Receiver-wise, they got Josh Dotson. He's a, kind of a player. Jordan Reed, hell of a tight end there.
If he's healthy.
Yeah, they re-signed Adrian Peterson a couple weeks ago, I believe. Now Darius Geis is he going to be healthy? He missed
could be a game changer. Could be. I think it would have been a
good coming out of LSU. I like Geis. As before, he tore his ACL in the preseason. He missed the entire year. But dude, I like Darius Geis, dude, from LSU. He's and they got Samaje Perine. So they've got the running back. The running back position is definitely squared away for the Redskins. Yeah. So I think will they draft it? Will they draft a quarterback? They're going to maybe I think they needed a receiver and maybe a defensive lineman and a linebacker. But I think the top two things you look at is quarterback and wide receiver. Yeah. But I think running back, they're good, dude. Running back, I think I like what they got there. Defensively, like I said, I still think they need to work on the D-line and with a linebacker.
Landon Collins signing is a good bet that you're trying to shore up the back end and then deal with like the linebackers and forward. Ryan Kerrigan is stout out there for him.
You still got Josh Norman in the secondary.
Yeah.
So and they grabbed Landon Collins, as you remember, from the Giants. We talked about that. So secondary wise, I think the Redskins are good. It doesn't hurt to get another guy, but I think the Redskins are good in the secondary. But it's quarterback and for me, it's quarterback and receiver. That's what they need, and because you can't win it without a quarterback.
You can't win without a quarterback. I mean, we're gonna
in this day's game, you can't win without a quarterback.
If somebody cannot deliver the ball effectively, you're just gonna have problems all the way through.
Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. Anyway, that's gonna do it for our time here today. Once again, as always, folks, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. What's the Word Entertainment? Your boy Sherm and Obed, bringing it once again. Thank you for the time, sir. I think that covers it. I'll see you next time, man.
Yeah, man. Take care. Have a good week.
Yeah, man. You too, man. Peace.